I'm doing for 6 weeks, just kind of modeling for you, what do you do? How do you do this? How do they work? If that's what they're supposed to do, teach us and awaken us and shape us, how does it work? And that's where we're going. So now we're going to Psalm 1 for starters, to see everything I've said so far confirmed. This psalm deserves 3 sermons. At least, maybe 3 series of sermons if you're a Puritan. But I'm going to give it 1 sermon and we'll cover 3 verses. And here's the way I want to do it. I have 2 observations to make in order to draw out some really precious things for us. And then we'll close with how does it lead us to Jesus? Observation number 1 in Psalm 1. Let me do it with questions. I get to the observation, but I'm leading to the observation with a question. Why does the psalmist begin the way he does in verse 1? Why does he begin like this? Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. Why does he begin like that? Instead of saying, more simply, don't be wicked, don't sin, and don't scoff. We just cut to the chase. Don't do that. Why does he begin this way? Here's the answer, I think. The reason is because the contrast that he wants to draw in the next verse is not a contrast between wickedness and righteousness. It's a contrast between being influenced by one set of influences versus being influenced by another set of influences. That's the contrast. He's contrasting being shaped one way versus being shaped another way as a human being. Being shaped in our thinking and feeling by the wicked, the sinner, and the scoffer, or being shaped in our thinking, feeling by the instruction of the Lord. So the focus here is not, don't be wicked, be righteous. That's not the point. That's a good idea. It's just not the point. The point is, in life, we're faced by multiple shaping influences. Wicked, sinner, scoffer, all kinds of bad attitudes and bad behaviors on the television, on the internet, on the billboards, in the neighborhood, just bad everywhere. Or you can be shaped by the Word of God. Verse 2. But, here's the contrast with walking, standing, sitting with bad influences. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Now, this is worth a lot of thought. Jumping from walking, standing, sitting to delighting calls for some reflection. Pretty serious reflection. Nobody is wicked out of duty. Nobody is sinning out of duty. Nobody scoffs out of duty. Why do they do it? They want to. It feels good to do it. It's pleasure. It's delight. That's why they do it. Why we do it. Why wouldn't you then contrast that delight with the other delight? And I presume since the way this delight is cultivated is by meditating on the law of the Lord day and night, the other delight happens that way too. What do you look at? What do you dwell with? What do you think about? The wicked, the sinner, and the scoffer are just so interesting. We look at them, we think about them, we watch them until we want it. And it's desirable. People look at the Bible, they don't get drawn to the Bible. How drawn are you to the Bible? How drawn are you to linger in the Psalms in the morning? And how quick are you to the internet? And quick are you to the newspaper? And quick are you to the radio and the television and whatever? Delight comes from significant beholding, looking, thinking, meditating, lingering. That's the way it comes in the world. That's the way it comes from the Scriptures. So the contrast, my answer to the first question, why did he begin verse 1 the way he began it? Don't walk in that counsel. Don't stand with those sinners. Don't sit with those scoffers. The contrast is, have another delight. Have another preoccupation. This is a summons, and this is what I hope God does in the next 6 weeks. I hope by the end of the next 6 weeks, the tide of this church's love affair with the Psalms and delight in the Psalms and commitment to meditate on the Psalms will have gone up so that all the boats are rising. Because we're at a pretty low level. We did a survey a long time ago of the amount of time spent in the Word in this church. I was absolutely tempted to quit. I have been unwilling to take the survey since then. It was so discouraging. So I don't know where you are. I just know once upon a time it was bleak. A minute here, a minute there. Every other day or 3 or week. And I thought, no wonder. You can't live. You can't live. You can't. You're going to be chaff-like. Not tree-like, fruit-like, green, shady, leaf-like, overhurting people-like, if you're not meditating on the Psalms day and night. Day and night. What do you do when you wake up at 4 a.m. and there's a panic over you? Or you feel rotten and guilty about something you said, or you're terrified of something that's coming, or you can't explain anything. What do? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil. You're not talking out loud because your wife is asleep here. But you're doing it. Preserve me, O God, for in you I take refuge. God is our refuge and strength, a very present time in help. I lift up my eyes to the hills from whence does my help come. My help comes from the Lord. What do you do at 4 a.m.? There is no other way to fight for faith and keep it and be a tree than to meditate on the instruction of the Lord day and night. That's question number 1. Here's number 2. Why doesn't verse 3 say, now that you've meditated on the instruction of God day and night, you will not act wickedly, and you will not sin, you won't act sinfully, and you will not scoff. Wouldn't that be a nice closure? Start in verse 1. Don't do that. go to the alternative influence of the Word so that a new heart of delight is awakened by meditating on more magnificent things than the world can offer, and you come out to close the verse 1